Their work includes developing a multi-year plan to control noxious weeds, restore vegetation, and manage wetlands. That's great. Their planning also integrates the landowner's interests for improving pasture land, enhancing ecosystems to better support wildlife, and creating low water requirement native spaces. They work with HOAs to reduce irrigated turf and convert these areas to native grasslands free of noxious weeds. Their conservation assistance services focus on improving soil stability, nutrient availability, and conserving native ecological communities to promote wildlife habitat and improve livestock forage. David Cummings. Excellent. David Cummings, owner of Back 40 Land Management, has created a business model for land management that promotes native landscapes and water conservation in Larimer County. This service provides HOAs and other large lot property owners with native and sustainable alternatives to resource consumptive landscapes. I think they definitely Thank you, sir. Well done, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Stevens.
Yes, so I am going to be presenting an award to Broadcom. Is Broadcom here? Oh, right there. Oh, wow. There's quite a few folks. Okay, and specifically Cameron Azad, is that right? Cameron. The whole team. The whole team's here, though, and we're presenting to everyone. So just a little background on what Broadcom's doing in this space. Broadcom is a semiconductor chip manufacturer who is reducing its greenhouse gas emissions, GHGs, through point-of-use abatement technology. Chip manufacturing is a significant source of GHG emissions, and Broadcom has systematically reduced its emissions for over 10 years. Even before legal limits were enacted. They recognized the importance of using sustainable manufacturing practices while creating some of the world's most advanced wireless technology. Broadcom began installing GHG abatement units at its Larimer County facility in 2012 and has been adding more units every year since. Between 2012 and 2016, Broadcom experienced a sharp increase in production as demand for wireless technology grew. In response, and as abatement technology became more reliable, Broadcom aggressively installed abatement units on their high-emitting tools between 2015 and 2022. By January 2023, Broadcom completed the installation of over 30 abatement units, which remain in production today, reducing Broadcom's total greenhouse gas emissions by 73%. That's pretty remarkable. As a major employer in Larimer County, Broadcom recognizes the important role it plays in our local community as a global company supporting sustainable business practices. So let's give a round of applause for Broadcom. So I'm going to come over and present the award. I guess I should have had you stand, but I mean, that keeps you standing for a long time. So you can stand now.
Thank you.
And again, we'll tackle you if you try to leave. We're going to want the photo up. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Stevens or Commissioner Kovales? Thank you, sir.
Yes, I have the final award recognition. Roberts Ranch, improving working rangelands through conservation grazing practices. Founded in 1876, the Roberts Ranch has a long legacy in the Livermore area. In recent years, the ranch has transitioned from a traditional to an adaptive and restorative grazing operation on its entire 13,000 acres. The ranch's project started in 2020 when Leachman Cattle of Colorado was awarded the Roberts Ranch grazing lease from the Nature Conservancy, which holds the property's conservation easement. Leachman Cattle partnered with Snaplands LLC, who monitors the ranch's targeted grazing program. The program annually measures soil fertility, drought resiliency, wildfire resiliency, ecosystem services, soil carbon sequestration, education and community outreach, and animal well-being through low-stress stockmanship. Improved rangeland health and livestock performance are both positive outcomes of the adaptive planned grazing strategy. Over the past 3 years, the three very divergent parties have come together to create a shared vision to restore the land and livestock vitality of the Roberts Ranch. That sounds like an extraordinary thing, and it's always good when we are able to bring divergent parties to the table to share a common vision and actually take action. So who are the folks from Roberts Ranch? I suppose. Pardon?
They gave us the table to sit at.
Yes, of course, as it should be. I believe you're supposed to stand up now. I will give this to my friend Kathy Reynolds.
Thank you, John.
I appreciate it. Thank you much. Hey, man, you're looking very smart.
You clean up pretty good. So since we have run through these so quickly, and it has kind of a different setup today, since we usually would have this downstairs with the podium and you could have a chance to speak. I would like to have a chance for every organization to pick their spokesperson and maybe give 1 or 2 minutes to speak about your award and have some comments. I'm sorry, we're kind of thrown for a loop how we did this today, so we're kind of learning as we go. So let's work in reverse order, since you just got your award. So we'll go ahead and just 2 minutes so everyone has a chance to speak. And so we'll start with Mr. Thode. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, commissioners, and thank you to Shelley and the Environmental Science Advisory Board for the honor of giving us an award at the Roberts Ranch. Again, this ranch has a long, beautiful, and maybe sometimes difficult history in Livermore, and I would encourage you all to. There's books being written, and we're recording history, so look forward to that in the future as far as what the history of the Roberts Ranch is. But in the recent history, we've made big strides to try to improve our impact into the community as well as onto the environment and in our little area. And so the ranch is now in a preservation trust, and that's why you see a bunch of us here. There's board members here. Kathy Reynolds is the trustee, and then Jason Ahola is the CSU representative that is the chair of our board, who's a CSU extension mandated person all the time on our board. And then Nancy Wallace helped us transition into a trust, and she's on our board. And then Ryan White with Snaplands has been instrumental in helping us get some improved grazing, along with a lot of other improvements to make the land a little bit more manageable, to reduce weeds, to reduce erosion, to reduce other risks, and to improve livestock operations, as well as just improve the ecosystem services on the ranch. And we've seen major improvements, but we're only looking at a 2-year change in that regard. But there's also lots of other things going on the ranch, and we really appreciate the opportunity to be here today. So thank you.
So, Zach, since you got the signature, if you wouldn't mind, I will have you stand just for a moment, and I'll have all the other awards, so that it's just because of the cameras and stuff, so it'll be hard for them to stand up where they are and for us to hear them and be recorded. So if you don't mind, sir, I would appreciate that greatly. Thank you. So I would like to invite Broadcom coming up as we're working reverse order. Would you like to come and have a seat and speak into the mic and share who you brought in with you, as Zach had done with his board. And congratulations again. You need to have just a couple minutes. Thank you.
That's important. Thanks, and thanks to the commission for doing this, and for the county to recognize people. As you mentioned, we are pretty fortunate here that we live in a county that actually cares about these topics. So we're proud to be a part of that. We started this particular effort actually in 2005, when a gentleman that used to work in our group came to me one day and said, geez, there's these things called GHGs, and we're using a lot of them, and we need to do something about it. And I said, okay. And so it started there. You couldn't actually buy abatement units or any technology at the time to help with that problem. Over the next 5 to 7 years or so, a lot of hardworking people around the world came up with ways to do that. And along about 2010 or 11, we were able to seriously consider buying one of these units to see if it would work. And we bought one, and we were really proud of ourselves. And as was mentioned in the narrative, we started growing immensely at that time. And pretty soon we realized one is not going to cut it. And so here we are 30 units later and $10 million worth of expenditure and a couple of abatement techs along the way to try and keep track of these things. And it's just been a real adventure to try and figure out how to do this. It took a lot of technology from a lot of different companies all over the world to make this happen. And a few of the people that were involved in it are here. Jeremy Irwin has been the guy that got stuck, I'll say stuck, with trying to keep these things run, and they didn't run very well at all to start, so he was the man who got to go through the adventure to understand just how they work, and probably is one of the best people certainly in the country, I would say, at doing that right now. Allison Darren is the engineer that we have for gases, and she got stuck with trying to design those and put them on tools. And then Darren and Chris both run organizations within our team that run the tools that then the abatement units had to go on, and then they had to suffer through the fact that they didn't work and went down and broke and caused troubles and all kinds of fun things. And then Cameron also is our EHS manager and has helped drive this thing for quite a few years. And of course also then was the one who turned in the application that we didn't even know existed. So we really appreciate that fact that you guys do this. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. And I want to just thank you for your commitment and dedication, and we're very proud to have you here in Larimer County. So thank you. Really glad to have your company here. So next, would love to have in the hot seat here, the chair, back land management, and I believe this was David. Have a seat, David, and thank you for being here, and introduce yourselves and anyone else you brought along with you with your team. So welcome and congratulations again.
Whole family today. Thank you, commissioners, and thank you, commissioners. Good afternoon, everyone. I brought my wife Karen and parents, grandparents. It's kind of cliche, but I couldn't have done it without them. I never thought back in 2011, sitting in Rick Knight's intro-level environmental sustainability class at CSU, that I'd be winding up somewhere like this and doing the things that we've done with Back 40. But it really evolved over the last, I guess, decade almost. So throughout my time at CSU, I had the opportunity to work at a couple of conservation districts, the Fort Collins and Big Thompson CDs, and saw a large need in this county as well as surrounding counties for the kind of services that we're providing, and just kind of fell into weed control, and that expanded into seeding and mowing and a bunch of other kind of interrelated services that with that really great intro I had previously, just all mesh nicely and provide, I think, a lot of landowners in this area with a lot of value. So in the future, I'd love to continue expanding into surrounding counties, maybe Boulder and Weld. We already do a little bit in Weld, but yeah, at this point, it's been very fulfilling, and I feel really honored to be here today. So thank you.
Well, thank you for being here, and what a great story, and just really appreciate work as someone who lives in unincorporated parts of Larimer County and has some property, and let's say, I'd say buying weed and some of these noxious weeds are the bane of my existence because they never go away. We're always working, and so it's something that's really important here in the county. So thank you for your work, and what a great story from CSU.
Quick
Commissioner? Yes.
David, could you tell us the genesis of the name of the organization, Back 40?
I remember it very clearly. I was just sitting in the parking lot of a veterinary's office, taking my dog in, and it just came to me. I just, thought it would really resonate with some of the mostly the older crowd get the reference to Back 40. Some of the younger folks don't really get it, but I think it's catchy, and yeah, just came to me like that.
I expect to get a double shipment of field bindweed mites this Thursday from the Department of Agriculture, so I'm hoping I can successfully deploy the mites. Just thought you'd like to
Exciting.
know.
Yeah, they work. At the Conservation District, we applied that in a couple different fields, and it did well, so.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, two more, then we'll have photo ops, and we'll go back in the other order again. But would love to have the representative for Rocky Mountain Flycasters. Thanks for being here today. Introduce yourself and who you brought, and again, congratulations.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Dave Heusler, the president of Rocky Mountain Flycasters. We're a chapter of the underneath Trout Unlimited, which is the one of the leading cold water conservation organizations in the country. We're designated to be the watershed stewards for northern Colorado, including the Platte, the Puda, and the Big Thompson watersheds. And in doing so, our principal project is the Puda Headwaters Project, which is over 15-year program, multi-million-dollar, to reinstate the state fish of Colorado, the greenback cutthroat, into the upper reaches of the Puda. Be approximately 40 miles of contiguous streams, and we're doing this in conjunction with a number of organizations: U.S. Forest Service, Wildlife or Fish and Wildlife, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, the National Park Service, all are involved in that area up there above Long Draw Reservoir. Along with that, we have multiple projects, and actually in August we're starting with another project, which is to put in an aquatic organism passage and temporary fish barrier on the Corral Creek to ensure that we can, then put a barrier there to keep the non-native brown trout, brook trout, out of the Corral Creek area, so that we can, reintroduce greenback cutthroats there. So we spend a lot of time and a lot of focus with our conservation activities in the Puda, but we also support the Big Thompson in the North Platte. Along with that, we're stewards of cold water conservation, and so our organization over the years has principally looked a lot like me. And so one of the things we're doing, one of our major initiatives, is to start, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so we have a lot of programs that are involved with inner city youth. We have a high school day camp that comes up here in the first week of August. We do Trout in the Classroom. We do Stream Girls with the Girl Scouts. We do Stream Keepers with families. So we're really education oriented to help educate our future cold water conservation people. So we really appreciate the award from the Larimer County Commission. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. Okay, and first up and last up, but be first up again, would love to have the North Fork Cache La Poudre River Site Conservation Team speak, and you brought a lot of folks with you, but let's, share all who's with you, and thank you for being here.
Well, thank you, Commissioners Kafalas, Stevens, and Shattuck McNally. Also, thank you to Shelley and the members of the Larimer County Environmental Science Advisory Board, and especially to Natasha Carr, who I know couldn't be here today. She encouraged our nomination. The Puda Site Conservation Team is made up of 22 members, and several, I'm excited to say, are here today. Megan and Corey from the Coalition for the Puda River Watershed, Alexis from the Natural Resources Conservation Service, Zach Wiebe from Larimer County Natural Resources, Dale Oberlog from the Forest Service, U.S. Forest Service, and Kate Luntz from the Fish and Wildlife Service out of Denver. So these folks and others represent 5 private landowners, 3 nonprofit conservation organizations, 4 local governmental agencies. We're very excited about that. 4 state natural resource agencies and 3 federal land management agencies. This is the first time that this has ever happened, and great credit goes to the Fish and Wildlife Service. They've recognized that to do their work better, they really need to engage local people in the places that they know and love. And approaching things like endangered and threatened species is no small task. And so in 2019, the Fish and Wildlife Service and the recovery team recognized that need and opportunity, and targeting Preble's Meadow jumping mouse, they selected the North Fork of the Puda River Basin as the first place to establish what they call site conservation teams. So this is an effort to engage local people and their local partners to work together parallel to the Fish and Wildlife Service and to find solutions that work both for local people, but also for the natural resources that sustain us, whether it's people out mountain biking and viewing wildlife or producing local food or just being citizens of a community. So this is a new approach. It's exciting. Since the establishment of this first group, there's 4 others, I think, now across the Front Range of Colorado. And we're working together, in a similar way to with our communities over time and establishing a new way of doing this work together. I'd like to say for the North Fork of the Puda, we're really fortunate. There's 2 critical factors that enable us to do our work better here. First of all, we've got a lot of public lands that are well stewarded and improving in their health because of the work of all of you and so many others. And that's a great opportunity. And secondly, we have private landowners who love this place and local organizations as well. And those people have made huge commitments, either formally through things like conservation easements or just the work that they do every day, like on the Roberts Ranch and many other places, where their work benefits not just themselves, but many others downstream of them. So we're really excited to be part of this. We're hopeful that this is a new way of doing business in many, many more places, not only in Colorado, but across the West. And we thank you again for this recognition.
Thank you. Congratulations. So, Lorinda, I will just give us all a chance. I'll let you start and let us all make just a quick comment, because I know we're about halfway through, and maybe my colleagues just have a couple questions or other comments, and then we're going to go out and we'll start with the North Fork out with a quick picture, and then we'll take a group picture. We have another award ceremony for innovation awards at 3, and so you're welcome to stay for that too. But we have a little bit of time crunch, but just want to start with Lorinda and see if my colleagues have anything else they want to add or ask. Thank you, Lorinda.
Thank you. There's not really much to add except thank you. I think what the work you do is what makes Larimer County a special place to be. And thank you for all of that. The businesses, the private interest, the varying things that are happening in these awards this year are very impressive. And I think it speaks to what our community values. So thank you for all your contributions.
Thank you, Lorinda. Commissioner Stevens.
Yeah, I don't really have any questions, just some comments. Congratulations to all the awardees. Remarkable work. And I love that we have representatives from both our rural communities and agriculture, but also very urban work that we do in our community as well. So I think we're well represented. We have this sort of broad spectrum, if you will, of people here that are doing great work. And so thank you very much for the work that you do every day to make our community a better, cleaner place to live and to work. So can't wait to take some photos with you all, but thank you for applying to receive one of these awards. It's really special for us to know that people are doing this good work in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens. Commissioner Kafalis.
Thank you. I have a couple of quick comments, and actually I do have a question. First of all, a lot of gratitude. I think that goes without saying. A lot of gratitude for all the good work that's happening in our community. Can you hear me, George? Can you hear me? And I think it's critical that some of the takeaways from our conversation this afternoon is the importance of public-private partnerships, and actually a new way of doing business in terms of conservation. Well, it's not as new, perhaps, in Larimer County, because we've been doing this, and that is to bring together the notion of divergent viewpoints, but bringing together the collaborators that typically in the past have not. It's been harder to collaborate, and I think we're doing a lot better with that, and that's a wonderful thing, and that's really critical, and that there's buy-in from the landowners and all of that. So I wanted to emphasize that's important, and my question, and to say thank you again, but my question is, what is a preservation trust?
Oh, Nancy. I'll give it to the attorney. How's
But
that?
she's the lawyer. She's the
No,
lawyer.
she's the lawyer.
Well, the Preservation Trust is a mechanism which the federal government recognizes, which allows people to put their land into a trust and then get apply for certain tax exempt statuses. It's a charitable trust, in short.
The foundation.
Foundation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I will echo my colleagues' comments. Well said. And again, thank you to the Environmental Science and Advisory Board for their work. I know you get these applications and it's just really hard to pick and choose. They're so amazing. It makes me really proud. And thank you again, Shelley. Well done. Appreciate your service as a liaison. Our staff have a lot of duties as assigned, and being a liaison to a board and commission and goes above and beyond those duties as assigned. And so I want to just appreciate her stewardship of that board, and thank you for just understand how much we appreciate all the liaisons, and especially you, because these have little extra things like these wonderful award ceremony. I think it's really important to note again that we've given now 105 awards out over 28 years, and that shows just this commitment as a county. We are standing on the shoulders of lots of hard work and dedication to former staff and organizations and former commissioners, as our former commissioner Kathy Reynolds, and just really pleased to see you here today. Thank you for being here. And also just again, important that we have some historic ranches that have been here for decades and about a century, and recognizing the work that's been going on for a long time to Broadcom with your business processes back way early on for over 10 years back when, even saying the word greenhouse gases was kind of a taboo thing to do or something, and now it's so imperative. And so thank you for your early investment and commitment. It's so important. And now we have this new CSU study and the generation who's kind of inheriting some of these stewardship things, and a great story of a new organization. Thank you for your work. And then just these new teams, Rocky Mountain Flycasters, just you guys just always, you're there. You just put your head down doing the work, but thinking about the amount of fish and how important it is, especially when we've had so many natural disasters in our riparian areas, and the trout and the native fish are so critical. And then these new partnerships with the North Fork Puda, it's nice to see we've kind of recognized not only these business and maybe municipal or in city and then unincorporated, but just this long-term commitment showing folks that have been doing this work for a long time. And then also having, and then the recent groups, but also I agree with Commissioner Kafalis that public-private partnership, how important that is, because we're all in this together. And I am very proud of this county. I always say it's the Larimer way, but we do things, kind of the Larimer way, innovative, and we find solutions and we work together and we unite for common causes. And I think that's really what makes our county so unique, is we focus on solutions and working together. So with that, I just have to say a hearty congratulations to you all. I think this is the most people we've ever had shown up, at least since I've been the commissioner, just for the very short time, but it just makes my day. And so thank you so much. Just a hearty congratulations. Thanks to our staff and our advisory board. And we'll now go ahead and adjourn and start with pictures. So the plan is we'll start with the first group of organizations. We'll take a quick picture out here in front of the Larimer County sign, and then maybe we'll come back in this room. We'll take the number 2 group, and then we'll get all through 5, and then one massive group picture. And staff is going to brainstorm on how we're going to squeeze everyone in. I think we have to move some furniture. So thank you all for joining us today. Just so proud. I hope you all know my heartfelt gratitude, and just look forward to learning more about you and the partnerships that we'll continue to work on together. So with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.